using your cell phone, we can send a transmitted signal to you to activate your gland artificially, whether you want it or not. We can activate that gland.
Do you know that the government is working on that right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
They are working. See, 5G is not. Look, it was a military tool to kill people. And now
all technology was designed by the military. The internet was military. Right. Everything's military.
Exactly. But the idea of this 5G is that even technology or technicians that work near this stuff can't get even close to it without turning it off first. It'll fry their brain, kills cells. This is like bad stuff. Now, on the other hand, what you're talking about is radio waves. For instance, I'll give you one off the top of my head. 528 is the love frequency. If you were to do nothing but transmit 528, you'd have a bunch of people walking around in about a day smiling all the time. Because that hits the pineal gland.
Right. Well, actually, I would disagree with you in one respect, because Heart Math Institute, you've heard of Heart Math Institute? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Heart Math in Greg Braden. You've heard of Greg Braden?
That I haven't heard of.
Greg Braden is on Gaia channel.
Ah, and okay. I know the guy.
You know Greg Braden.
Yep.
Greg Braden in Heart Math discovered that the frequency of 0.1 hertz, I'm not talking 528 hertz. I'm talking 0.1 hertz. Actually, it was discovered that the lower the frequency, the more that the heart opens. If you have a high frequency at 528 or 790 or whatever they're calling these numbers, it actually does not work that way. We are getting bad information. We are getting conflicting information, because in order for you to vibrate spiritually, everyone says, oh, you have to vibrate higher, higher, higher. And the fact is, no, the soul comes from 0.00 absolute, where there is no vibration, where there is zero vibration.
Did you ever hear 528?
I've heard of 528, and I've heard of the stuff behind it. It makes sense. But look at something very simple. You know the chakras, you know the energy fields, the chakras that we have.
Here, hold on.
Our lower chakra. Yes.
Can you hear that?
Yes. Yes.
That's 528.
Are you in love right now?
I don't know if my knees are getting hard. I'm serious.
That's a good one.
that's 528. I mean, everybody says,
but that's not 0.1 hertz. No, 0.1 hertz is not even identified by a sound, Bob. Your ears only can hear certain frequency level. You cannot hear 0.1 hertz. It's not even recorded. Actually, quantum radio goes from 0.0 and go out 130 zeros, 130 zeros, and then 1. So it's 0.0000000 all the way to 1. That is the quantum radio frequency. That is antenna It's the first signal that we can identify. 0.1 hertz is not even close to 0.00130 zeros 0.1. Okay, it's not. The fact is, the more dead we are, actually, to our senses, and this is what Jamie and Maggie talk about with the psychic channeling that they do. When they become psychic, they come to 0.00 absolute, and from that point outward, they can see everything. They can see and feel everything, because they're not feeling with their normal human senses. They're using clairvoyant senses. We have a sister or a brother to all of our senses, our sense of taste and smell and touch and sound. in feeling. We have clairvoyant. That's what Jamie and Maggie tap into, is their clairvoyance. And that's what quantum radio taps into. So when you hear on that signal that you just played, your ears are vibrating. That is confusing the hell out of your pineal gland. Your pineal gland should not vibrate at all. You know, the chakras from your lower chakra, which is your sexual organs, your penis and the vagina, that's our lower chakra. If you take the light frequency code, that is red. And then if you go up the chakras to your base chakra and up into your heart chakra and into your third eye and into the crown chakra, the light spectrum goes from red to orange to yellow to green to blue to ultraviolet. On the top of your head, according to the light chakras, it is purple. It is ultraviolet. The next step beyond your head, if you look at the frequency of light, is darkness, is total black. See, we have it opposite. Everyone thinks that we're supposed to vibrate higher. And if we vibrate higher, that's when the light illuminates. But the fact is, your highest vibration and the only vibration comes from darkness. Darkness. It's not light. Light is only when you're in the dark and you make a movement. At 0.00 absolute is total pitch black until you make a movement to leave zero. Once you take a step outside of zero, that's when you are vibrating. And that's where the frequency tones come in. So when you say 528 hertz or whatever, that's actually in your lower chakra. That doesn't even pass by your heart chakra. That in order to pass by your heart chakra, it has to be totally calm and totally peaceful and totally still. And once that happens, then your heart opens up, and then the energy goes up into your head. And then it goes through your head, through the pineal gland activation, and out into space, into total darkness. See, we have it opposite. That's the only problem that we have, is that we're being taught the opposite. And the government is very good at doing that. Because if everyone believes that you need to vibrate higher, what are they going to try to do? Vibrate higher, which is actually a lower frequency, a lower effect. It's just the inverse. In mathematics, there's the inverse of everything. Mathematically has the opposite. Everything has an opposite. And so I think everyone's confused, Bob. We need to try to help people with this. This is really serious.
Let me put it this way. We really, really have to get together and discuss it more with other people that would understand it better. We'll do it on Skype, though. We won't do it on the other, because the other 40 minutes is like nothing. The thing is that if we do it on Skype, we can get in as many people as needed to be in to explain what it is, what about it, and everything else. If all of that, now this is what I'm maybe it's just my mind, the way it works. If you get all those people talking about it on here, I don't care how long it takes. Could take 2 hours. Who cares? 3 hours. Could care, But talk about it and finite what all the parts are, what it does, how it does it, the who, what, when, where, how, and why, like I said before. You get all those things, then you could take the link or the tape of that show and put all the information together in something that would be worded so that people can understand what you're talking about.
I agree. But Bob,
like,
the purpose of this call today in the discussion I'm having with you is I want to try to reach an agreement with you at Pyramid One Network to be the first quantum radio broadcaster. I need to have some type of working relationship with you, some type of an agreement that I will share with you, just like what you're doing with Jamie and Maggie, with the psychic mediums that you're doing.
I I just typed over to JK, and that the thing that he was doing about let me scroll down here a little bit to get the other, because he's talking at the same time you were. I don't know how he's getting this, but he is. The consciousness and transformation. That was what you guys were going to talk about. Which
That's correct.
you should really get in touch with him and talk to him about it. I already told him that if you're going to do a podcast like that, sure, I'll do it. No problem whatsoever. Just, I mean, they're only hour podcasts. So I just click myself out. The only thing they'll see is an avatar of me in there. But you guys would be the ones that were on the show doing the show. And then you can
Yes.
take that link and do whatever you want to with the link. And I would put it probably on YouTube like I do everything else.
Yes.
So that's no big deal. The other thing that we're talking about now with this radio, that is something, as I said, we got to put together people first, and that to get all the information together, it's got to be like a mind mine in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's got to be a thought tank.
A think tank.
Right.
Or a shark tank.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Right.
But to get it all together so that it all gets out in the front, so that everything is put out, so that some one of you can take that tape and put together a relative instruction, like the instructions to how it works, what it works, who's going to bother, not bother, who can use it, who can't use it. All these things would be answered by putting all people together talking about it.
Right. Well, the most important thing that I need to do is try to reach an agreement with you, Bob Charles, and Pyramid One Network, because I can download everything to you, and then we can bring in other people. Because right now, Bob, I'm not talking with anybody else. I love the name Pyramid One Network and Quantum Radio or Antenna
You realize
I think there's a marriage there.
In the very, very beginning of Pyramid One Radio, I had now Jamie is the only other guy that knows this, except for Diane here, the marketing director. There was this one night I just went on this skip out of my body, and I wound up right at the bottom of the main pyramid in Egypt, right at the bottom, right at the corner, as a matter of fact. But in the distance, not too far away, maybe a football field, maybe a little more or something like that, was the river, the Nile, which is not there now, not even near it. So you can imagine where I went or when I went. But I could smell it. I could touch it. I could touch the sand. I could, the air and everything else that was around, the whole thing. So then I used Pyramid One, and I said, network, bingo. So the only reason why I use network was because when you're on the internet, anybody can pick you up anywhere in the world. When you're on TuneIn, like there's a lot of people who use all kinds of things, Spotify and all kinds of different things. They're very hard to get outside of these walls. For some reason, TuneIn, I've got people that write me from Russia University. They listen to Jamie's shows. So go figure. I mean, anywhere I want to. What's this week at Portugal? Somebody wrote just this week to me. I mean, we got people all over the place. The more and more we put these kind of things on Facebook and Twitter and whatever is out there. I even got stuff on Truth Social, which is Trump's. I mean, I put it on there too. I don't care. It's a link. Boom, put it on there. And if somebody listens, fine. But you know what? They're listening. They really, really are, to all the stuff in it that we're putting out. So after this many years, originally when we actually started, I was with Kinetic Hi-Fi. That was a radio station. And it was still Pyramid One, but it was on Kinetic Hi-Fi. Then I don't know whether I got smart or whether I got smarter, but then I came out, and now there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there's 6 computers around here that runs this. It's not just one computer. Each one of them networks, one of them takes in calls, the other one, like I can talk to anybody during the show. I can talk to people that have questions and ask, whoever's on while they're there, because some people don't want to call. So they send me a text. Now, I also have two cell phones here. Not one, two.
I see.
Because
Beautiful,
one of
beautiful phones there.
there's two separate numbers for text. There's an 863-222-4199, and then there's 201-214-2671. So they can text me on two phones, on two numbers at the same time, and call in. So yeah, we're big enough that we can definitely make a difference and get a lot of stuff out. It's just
Yes.
when you want to do it. I mean, you got us. Don't worry about us anymore.
Well, I'm not worried. What I want to do is try to delegate kind of, I do not want to own quantum radio. I don't want to, I'm not in the radio business. I just so happen to know that this is the technology. My forte is the integration of businesses. I'm a social architect. I don't want to own anything. I don't want a bank account. I don't want assets. I don't want to have to manage anything. I'm 58 years old, Bob. I worked my butt off just like you worked your butt off. And I just want to give a pay it forward, pay it forward.
Mm.
The movement, pay it forward. I want to pay it forward to you if you're willing to accept the gift. It doesn't require, I'm not asking you to be an investor or anything like that. Just try to help me organize this stuff. And if you can bring in people like Jamie and Maggie and JK and other people into the network, that's a blessing. It's total blessing. There's no negative. There's no negative side.
Why don't you do this? Get together with Jamie and figure out what time or what day Jamie would want to get together and talk about it.
Jamie Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in this way, I can do the same thing I did right now.
Jamie's a little bit difficult to reach. I've sent him numerous messages. When we spoke, when I called in the last time you had to, I think like 2 weeks ago now, if you remember, I called in and he said, don't send me Facebook stuff because I get inundated and I don't have his WhatsApp. I have, I guess, his Skype with the group. There's a group that I have on the Skype, but maybe, my interest is to have a relationship, a working relationship with you directly. And then you can delegate if you want to bring somebody or not. All I want to do is give you the information and the technology so that we can operate a quantum radio antenna ohm.
See, this is what I'm thinking of. This is what I'm thinking about though with Jamie. Jamie's already been in the brain consciousness what's his experiments. He's already done that with universities before. So, I mean, he's been there, did that. One of those kind of things. If you wanted to get together and wanted to talk about quantum radio with somebody like him around, he will ask you questions that are very, very pertinent to what you're doing.
Yes.
And we'd be able to understand it even better because he already understands, transmitting thoughts and everything else. He knows that part. So what we want to do is, as I said, we want to get to know the idea. I mean, right now it's an idea. It's not a product. You can't hold it. You can't throw it away or anything else. Now, the only thing that works in that is the antennas or whatever. And you're transmitting your thoughts through an antenna. So then
not my thoughts. We're transmitting consciousness. It's not my thoughts. It's every thought.
It's every
thought.
Yeah,
and we are transmitting live antenna ohm. I sent you the link, antennaohm.com.br.
Did you?
I believe if I didn't, I'll send it to you again. But if you go on and you click their live broadcast on that radio frequency, we have embedded love and compassion into the radio. They already played 70s and 80s classic rock and a lot of love songs. And they focus on the antenna ohm stands for the #1 music radio in the world. They don't have commercials. It's all music and it's all American music, which is crazy. It's the #4 radio station on the in the market share here. Number 4. It's not Antenna It's not the number 1 radio station.
Did you weren't on when we first came on. This was playing when you came on. Listen.
I don't hear you.
So unlike a lot of other radio stations or whatever, we're fully digital. So whatever the music was when it was made, that's what you're going to hear, one way or the other. So,
Right.
And that's why I tried it on Zoom and to see if I get the same thing. Because ever since they updated Skype, which was about a year ago, and they put all this new things in here with recordings and stuff, it's if you put music in the very beginning, Skype for some reason just doesn't. They do a mess of a recording out of it. It stinks. At the very end, that's fine. By the time you get there, it's cool. So
Yeah.
I don't know. So I wanted to see if Zoom acts the same way, because the music is beautiful.
Well, actually, right now we're on Messenger.
Right? Oh yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. But you know what's important is about the frequency. If you have any interruption in the frequency and it's not clear and communicated, you're not going to get the love vibration. You're not going to feel that. You don't hear it at 0.000000001 hertz. It's not even measured. You cannot hear that frequency. It's embedded into the radio signal. There's no way the government can, like, I don't need a license to broadcast this because there is no license. It's undetectable.
I have one server that I pay for that one kid uses it for 1 hour a week. So, and you can these are Centrovo servers. So you can you can turn it off, you can turn your show on, then you can put it back on again. So I could actually put anything through there 24 hours a day. So if my guy had your server number or wherever it's coming from for 24 hours, we could actually take that while yours is playing and then play it through ours.
That's exactly what we're trying to accomplish. And it's easy because it's antenna. The address is the website, antennaum.com.br.
Yeah, send it over to me.
I'll send it over to you. And if you can rebroadcast that, that's what we're doing here with a doctor. This is done professionally by a neuroscientist. Dr. Paulo Roberto de Faria is his name. He's from Brazil. He's a Brazilian inventor, a neuroscientist. And he is embedding this information into the antenna radio signal. But the problem, Bob, is that the signal is weak because it goes from here to the orbit, it goes out of orbit to the satellite and back. There's a 20-second delay. It's not real time. It's a 20-second difference. You can listen to the radio channel here, and then you can tie into the internet, and there's a 20-minute delay. So the radio is faster, and then 20 seconds later, now you can access that song, but it's not in real time, and right. that's what we're doing is we're equalizing or resonating the difference between the radio signal and the internet signal, and there's a 20-second differential in the time of quantum time frame. 20 seconds is like 6 billion years.
All right.
It's such a huge difference.
You know how Jamie and Maggie sounds like, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we can't grow without these weird.
This is live right now, out all over the place.
Pushed by the experiences of life.
But when you say live, is that actually them in Arizona?
It's on TuneIn.
No, but is that them in Arizona talking, or is that a recording?
That's the archive recording.
Right, but so it's not live.
It could be live.
It could be live, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about broadcasting a 24/7 live stream radio using antennaum.com.br. and then rebroadcasting that signal to our local community. Because in our local community, Bob, we can monitor the electromagnetic frequency change. We can show definitively that people are more happier, healthier, in love. We can show immediately that people, it's almost like brainwashing. I'm sorry, Hitler and other people have used this type of technology, and we are being inundated. We are being inundated now with radio frequency signals that scramble basically our pineal gland. So our pineal gland antenna is not operating vibrationally, is not operating, it's closed. And our heart is closed. More important than the pineal is the heart, because everything goes through the heart first, and then it goes to the pineal. So if there's any disruption that we feel as human beings, if we feel insecurity, in fear, in doubt, in jealousy, in rage, in greed, and any of those low vibration, or what we would think as low vibrational signals, the heart closes and the pineal gland never gets activated, never. And that's what the government is doing right now with radio and media transmission. We are being inundated by electromagnetic signals that is scrambling our natural innate ability. Jamie and Maggie are examples of what's possible for psychic ability, obviously, and they're great at what they do. But
Well,
we all have that. We all have that same capability.
What we have to do is we have to get you and him on the show.
Absolutely. If that's something that you can arrange, I've tried to speak. I don't have his home phone number or anything.
I'll see if I can get him. We text back and forth. So
yeah, maybe if you can be the middle person, the third person right now, and help. I really love the idea of working with Jamie because of the soul phone in Tucson, Arizona. I know he's in Phoenix, right? He's in Phoenix.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about a thing. I'll get him in on this. I got
Okay.
just had an idea, and I'm smiling about it because it's always like he's a challenging kind of guy, And I mean,
Sure.
So am I. So
and I am too.
It's like well, I always said when somebody puts me up against the wall, I'm going to come out fighting. So I think Jamie's exactly the same way. He's like, he was at a point in his life, and I remember because I mean we've been together, about 12 years, 11 years. I know him, and I mean I remember when he was when he came off one marriage a long time ago, and things. So I mean it was crazy. The whole thing was crazy. But the idea of the thing is, he's now to the point where I'm proud of the guy. I mean, he's gotten to the point that like people want to hear from him. When he opens up his mouth, everything stops. And that's a point we all want to be at one time or another in our lives. So
if we can help change the world, that's what it's all about, is opening up the heart so that people can be genuine and authentic. And that's what Jamie and Maggie are, authentic people.
The idea is great. What we have to do is we got to get it working.
Absolutely.
It's got to be proven. And, to do that, we've got to strive to make it work. Make enough people that come into this net to be able to make it work.
Right. And we have to show the math and the science behind it. Like I said, we want to broadcast a local signal, because then we can control that feedback loop. And then we can show definitively that we are having a positive effect on our community, that it's a happier place. In the world, there's the happy meter. It's called the happy meter. And they economically, they show all of the countries in the world and how happy people are. Unfortunately, in the United States, people are not very happy.
No.
I don't know the happiest place on earth. Even in Brazil, they're not happy. Maybe it's Hawaii or something like that. But I don't know. It would be an interesting question. What is the happiest place on earth?
If you go out to Arizona and everything, where even JK is out there close. I mean that's an energy spot. You go to Chicago. I mean Hawaii. It's an energy spot.
Yes.
You got everything else. Where do you get the lava and everything else? From the center of the earth. So what are you directly connected to? The center of the earth. If you're anywhere around Yellowstone Park, anywhere, That's the largest volcanic crater in the world is Yellowstone Park. And I
Yes.
mean, seriously, I mean, those kind of places, yeah, people are going to be very happy in and around those places. And water. Water's another thing. You got people that are out by the shore. They're very happy. Now, not so happy, only because the water is coming up on their front porches. But that whole thing, there's too much technology. Like what you're talking about would be, how would you say it? Ineffective to personal life. You know what I mean? In other words, your spiritual life will be affected by what you're talking about. Your personal life won't be. Everything that is out there right now is personally affecting people's lives. For instance, there's HAARP, HAARP. That's the big antennas that are up in Alaska, and there's another one up up by Russia somewhere. These things beam frequencies, just like what you're talking about, up to the ionosphere. They bounce off the ionosphere and they come back down. They reflect. When they reflect, that's how they change water and weather. They can actually affect these things. They can affect by using the vibration from those frequencies that they bounce off, which, by the way, is included in the 5G realm. It vibrates 20, 30, 40, 50 miles under the top of the earth, vibrates and moves plates. They can create an earthquake. They can create a volcano. They can create hurricanes. And I swear to God, when the Hurricane Sandy hit New Jersey, the original storm, before it made a left-hand turn, the storm was going straight up the middle of the Atlantic City. But for some reason, when it came into where it was even with, say, anywhere from Washington to Massachusetts, it made a direct right 90-degree turn and went straight into the shore.
Exactly.
Storms never, ever, in any history, anywhere, ever made a right turn.
Yes.
They'll veer off in order to kind of make a long, curve off.
Yes.
But not a right turn. That don't happen.
Right.
So to
No,
this
it
day,
doesn't.
I still say somebody had something to do about that.
Yeah.
Because
And I agree.
New York
I
was a
agree
mess.
with you. Yeah,
New
I
York
agree
was-
with you.
The whole block where my house, now we moved out 3 months before it hit. We went to South Carolina, and then we had a house there. When the storm hit there, my house and the house next door were the only houses left on the block. The rest of them were pushed right off their foundations. And the reason being is because our houses were ranch houses, but they were long ways. Where the water came in, it went around the whole house because the skinniest part was first. So, of course, it just went around the house. To the ones that were flat out to the road, they got pushed.
Right.
And that's how close I was to the water there. And I loved it, because I had a boat and it was like near the water. And it was, oh, man, I tell you, I love the water. It's everything. Now I'm in the middle of Florida. So, there's a lot of lakes, but I mean, what am I going to do in a lake,
Yes,
I know,
exactly.
get a canoe.
Yeah.
That's about
Get a
it.
canoe.
Yeah.
But I'm an ocean lover also, so we have that in common.
That's like the best in the world. So look, we get in touch with JK and put together what you're going to do on the other show, and then either you or JK can get back to me and tell me what you want to do and when you want to do it or whatever, and we'll set up a time.
Great. And then on your side, if you could talk with Jamie and Maggie and find out when we can have a show and do a show together, and talk about consciousness and psychic abilities and all of the things that they talk about. And they can be the devil's advocate,
Yeah.
I don't mind that people question what I'm saying. That helps me to really advance and evolve.
Send me the information that you can for the radio. Let me see that, and then I'll call Jamie.
Okay.
Because at least I'll know a lot more to be able to talk to him about it.
Before I forget, then let me mention, I don't know if you heard in the news, but they just found about 3 months ago, they found a huge city with pyramids, about 150 pyramids in Brazil, in the Amazon,
Really?
buried in the buried in the jungle. I can send you a link to that. I'm forgetting the name. It's a Brazilian name.
You know the Constitution. What's this? Constellation Orion.
Yes.
What? Every single one of them. There's 3 or 4 groups of pyramids, and there's always like 3 or 4 of them in a row. Every single one of them are duplicates of the constellation. See if the one that you're talking about down there is the same thing. If it is, then we know who put it there.
Yeah, we know. This supposedly this city is ancient before Atlantis.
Oh, come
And
on. Everybody keeps telling me all the time, like, oh, well, we only got this many million years old and everything else. I said, look, you gotta step back a little bit. This Earth is over 200 billion with a B years old. I said,
correct.
The people that are coming over here, they keep saying UFOs. I said, we're babies. We're kindergarten. We're lower than kindergarten. We're in care. What's his child care? I said, those guys. I said, they are so far ahead of us. It would scare us if we ever knew what they were doing. I said, they can do anything. We can't. Why? Because we're that young.
Yeah.
I said, right now, we're going through all the, what would you call it? The bad time. When a little kid and that grows up, there's always like, you go through this like terrible twos and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's about where the Earth is right now. Somewhere's around the terrible twos. And the thing is, we all have to start becoming more parents, like parents of this Earth. Mother Earth is getting really pissed off, and she is going to start, shaking and rocking and rolling around here. And I'm serious. This is going to be not a cool place if we keep this crap up.
Right.
Plus,
it's already
on top of it, everybody wants to blow everybody up again. So they always say history repeats itself. Okay, Atlanta blew itself up. The one in the other Atlantis that was over by Hawaii, that one blew up. I mean, they all got to a point. Where they just, said, well, the only way I can do anything about this and that is to do this. They almost came to the wrong end. We're doing that right now.
Yes.
I mean, Russia wants to end the war. How did he say he wanted to end the war? Now, here's a guy that's dying of cancer, by the way. Putin is not only dying of cancer, but doesn't give a damn. So therefore, if he don't give a damn, he could throw a nuclear weapon over at the Ukraine. Who cares if he dies? He's going to die anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Now, on the other hand, China is getting pissed off at us about Taiwan. Why don't they leave Taiwan alone? Why do they need Taiwan? What are they, idiots? I mean, if they could get along with Taiwan and they could share. But nobody in our government right now is big enough or ugly enough to go up to those Chinese and say, look, we don't mind sharing something with somebody. We're just really, really pissed off because everybody says they own everything. No, the Earth owns us. We don't own it.
Yeah,
they got to get it through their thick head.
Exactly.
They really, really do. Nobody has the personal they got to be more forwarded at what they're doing. They have to be able to turn around and say somebody with no questions whatsoever, hey, this is the way we should do it. Not we got to do it, not we have to do it. We should do it. You don't have to tell somebody how to do. You leave a suggestion in their mind, in their consciousness,
right?
And somewhere down the line, that person will turn around and go, I think we should, not knowing where it came from, but they'll do it, and it works.
It works.
And I'm serious. You want to have your work. See what you're talking. I'm on your wavelength. I mean, I can see with the radio that we kind of do better things.
Yes.
But there's a lot more to it than what you're saying. It's got a lot more got to be put together.
Well, we're working on it. We're going to take one step at a time, but we know the direction. We know where we're headed. We arrived there, we traveled off, and now we're headed back. That's the whole point. We know where we're going, and
Okay.
as a society, as humanity, and we're going to evolve together, Bob, regardless of whether or not Pyramid One network radio gets involved or not. We are doing this quantum radio. We're already doing it. But the problem is we cannot quantify the results because the information is coming from the satellites in outer space. And once we start broadcasting locally here, then we can quantify immediately. When we start broadcasting, you walk down the street in our local community now, and people don't even say hello to you. And once we start broadcasting love and compassion and caring and kindness, people in the street are going to be helping you walk across the street like a good Samaritan, like a good person, like somebody that cares about your neighbor. And all of the criminality here, criminality's off the chart because no one has jobs. Everyone's struggling and everyone is separate. The government has separated everybody, including families and relationships. If you haven't gotten divorced yet, the next step is getting a divorce because everyone gets divorced. That needs to change.
You realize that this one world order thing they're talking about, that is what is doing this. It's scary. It really, really is. That's like World War II and the Nazis on speed. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, that's exactly. I mean, Canada is already down the toilet. We're halfway. Well, we're more than halfway there now, and smaller countries are going so fast it isn't funny.
Well, look at Latin America, South America. Argentina is like totally screwed up, totally. And the president there ripped them off, and then they reelected her. They reelected her to go to run again. It's crazy. In Brazil. In Brazil right now, we have elections in October. October 2nd, I think, is the elections. And we are in a position where the people, I don't get to vote as a foreigner. I'm not allowed to vote. And my one vote's not going to change the reality because they have totally corrupted the election system. And just like what's happened in the United States, the opposition parties basically stole the platform. And so in Brazil right now, they're threatening to be communistic, along with Venezuela and Cuba and Argentina's following and Peru and Ecuador and Uruguay.
But I still think they're more socialist than they are communist.
Yes and no.
There is a difference between socialist and communism. Socialist is Cuba, but it was caused by being a communist.
Yeah.
So I mean, communist socialism is something that's real. It's like for one, for all. You know what I mean? If one person makes $20 a week, so should you. And there shouldn't be any rich people. No, there should be rich people and poor people. Middle people they're out of here.
Yeah.
There's rulers and there's followers. There's sheeple or not sheeple. I mean, all these things that are part of the socialist movement. Communism is king. He is the king. He is the
authoritarian.
God. It's total. I own your ass, and that's the way it goes. And
that's the one world order.
Right, and it's a communist. It's a combination of the both.
Yes.
Put together. And why they do it, I have no idea. And especially us. I mean, they're trying to redo the Constitution, or they're putting in all these bids to be able to do that. What was wrong with the Constitution? The Constitution had to do with we, the people. It was important for the people, not for the leaders, because the leaders were elected to be leaders for whatever needed or was needed by the people. The we the people. Well, that don't work that way anymore. And it's about time that somebody, I mean, like as I said, I said to somebody this morning on a blog, I said, you remember the Tea Party? Well, the Tea Party was when everybody, they went a little crazy in that and had their own revolution, and they threw the British out. And that's how they did it. I think what we're on right now is Tea Party 2.0.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's about to happen again. And they keep on saying no guns, no guns. Of course they don't want any guns. They're going to send the IRS guys net to your door, and it's giving them permission to wear guns. Why? Because I wear one too. It's like, hey, people are really going to start. I mean, I'm serious. There's going to be gunshots in the streets.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen. Hopefully we can resolve some of this stuff, Bob.
If the radio came out a little bit faster, maybe we got a chance to change some minds, but you never know.
That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the quantum radio out there to the world, and as quick as we can.
Get me any information you can so that I can see what the information is, and I at least I have to draw my lines in that where the war is going to start. Yes. There are things that are going to have to be worked on. There's things that are going to have to be fine-tuned in a way so that more people, we need to be able to explain to people what it is.
Yes.
Now, that's where I think that maybe, just maybe, Jamie might have a little touch in that. Because he's the kind of guy in that we already went through all the stuff and that with the brain tests and everything else. And if that is true, then he understands what it does to what things do to your mind better than most people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we have a great core team, Bob. With JK now, with Jamie, with Maggie, with you and other people that you could bring in. We have all the information. We just need to get it out there to the public and broadcast it, and that's what you do better than anybody. So let me let you go for today. I know that we've spoken quite a bit.
Don't worry, I'll send you a copy of these. What get together with JK so that you can get together on his idea for the show, so that you guys can discuss what you're going to do on the show. I don't want to know what you're doing on the show. I just run the show. I just get you guys out there. As soon as I know what you both of these guys are doing, that who knows? Maybe I'll throw a question in somewhere. But
we hope so.
Don't worry. I've stepped in a few things before in my life. But it's what you're doing is a great idea. But we have to make it work. It's not going to just because it's a name, just because it's got some kind of an idea that it's going to work, because those things that don't work. What does work is people turning around and saying, I want to do that. So, and then you have to have, there's got to be some kind of a training course, a training thing in that setup so that people understand it even better. So I may even have to, have you and maybe somebody else on like a podcast that just you guys are there to explain what something is and how somebody can get themselves aligned with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll talk with JK and I'll send you a couple of links. I'll send you the information about the ancient city that they found here just about 6 months ago. It hasn't even broke world news because the archaeologists and the scientists are still trying to put their arms around this city that they found underneath the jungle in the Amazon rainforest. It's amazing. And there's YouTube and there's all sorts of videos and stuff, but I'll send you those links. I think you're going to find it fascinating. Pyramid One Network for me is in so alignment and harmony with quantum radio antenna Pyramid One Network, everything's about one. And so that's how we're connected and we're linked. So I'll thank you so much. Bob.
What is the main thing that everybody should say? I am. Everyone is number one. Everyone.
Exactly. I am. Exactly.
So Pyramid One, and then the numbers after are 1111. Go look them up. four ones. That's a spiritual number.
Yeah, it's very spiritual number.
There you go.
The best number. Thanks, Bob. And if you do broadcast this, if your listeners are listening, we'll be happy to talk with you here in Brazil. My name is David Ferdinand. I'm the team leader of the Biodome Project, and we're here today with Pyramid One Network and Bob Charles. And such a pleasure, always, as usual, Bob, talking with you today.
Your link.
And let's sign off.
How do we get in touch with you?
The best way to get in touch with me is actually touching Bob Charles here at the Pyramid One Network. That's the best way, because Bob, you now have all my contact, and you can feel free to go ahead and give that to anybody that wants. I have WhatsApp, and we also have the Skype, and now we have the Messenger on Facebook. So there's many ways to get in touch. But it's such a wonderful thing to be able to have this technology, to be able to reach out to the world and to be able to have some positive change in the world that we live in, not only for ourselves and our families, but for everybody, for all of mankind and all of humanity. This is really exciting time that we live in, Bob. And it's been such a pleasure today. Thank you so much.
Here's something that you can use. Let's start helping the world. Bingo.
Let's not just start. Let's finish.
Meanwhile,
let's start and let's finish.
You know what we'll do? We'll go out to music.
Okay.
Later. Now everybody listening to this thing here, get this on your YouTube. Listen to it. Try to understand it. Get in touch with Bob Charles Show at live.com. Again, Bob Charles Show at live.com. You will absolutely get back to you. Want to make this